All right, I just hit record.
Wait a second. Let me grab coffee.
I am.
Hey, how you doing, Jenna?
I am good. We're just like in the full swing of summer over here. Things are
Hot.
really busy on the work side and then just like chaotic on the home front. And, it's just, we're going with it.
Yeah, and this morning we have the Canadian smoke, which will be bad for a few days, so that's a bummer.
So yesterday morning, it looked just like dark and hazy.
Yeah.
Like it was going to pour. It looked like it was going to pour, but the forecast had no rain. So I kind of was like, okay. And then as the afternoon progressed, the whole sky was just this weird tinted yellow, like
Yeah.
a hazy yellow. It was insane. I did let the kids go outside. Maybe not the
Yeah.
smartest idea, but
No, I mean, yeah. I think I don't know the delta between those with respiratory
and
issues
just the
versus like
regular old.
a healthy human, right? But
Yeah.
it makes me nervous because you just feel it the second you walk outside. I mean, I think about the dog, which will parlay into some of our
Yeah.
topics today. Like, I don't want her to be outside that much. But yeah, so that's been
What does
interesting.
your sky look like right now?
Yeah, it's a bit of a bright yellow filter at the moment.
Well, the weird thing is now, today, we have clear
Yeah,
skies, beautiful blue, all that. But I was reading there's still an air quality
yeah,
alert and stuff. So I even think
sure.
it lingers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think they expect it through the weekend, but that today may be the worst. But then you kind of think how and why. I know it's the weather systems because I don't know how they're mitigating it in Canada,
I
the
can't
source,
even.
right? But yeah, it's about how the air moves around to see how quickly it'll dissipate. But anyway, yeah, little curveball.
Yeah. Well, so today we're going to talk a little bit more about what is happening in the news because aside from the wildfires happening in Canada right now and kind of that trickle into the States and what that looks like, there's another big thing happening, which is this outbreak. I have to say out loud, I was talking to a friend the other day and somehow I had kind of missed this on the map. And she said, have you heard about this like sudden diarrhea outbreak? I was like,
I
I'm
believe
sorry.
the word is explosive, and that is
Yes,
that is
that is what she
everywhere.
said.
So, I
Explosive
mean,
diarrhea outbreak. And I was like,
hilarious, not hilarious.
oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then I, of course, went and did my research and now I have seen it multiple times since then. So she was maybe
Yeah.
just like a little bit ahead of me on that curve. Um, and tell me what it's really called.
Yeah. I need to actually look at it. Cyclosporiasis.
Thank you.
Ooh, do you
Okay.
think I overemphasize the ass on purpose? Cyclosporiasis.
I mean, it's essentially an intestinal illness. I think it's a
Yeah.
parasite. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's a parasite.
Hmm.
Um, there are thousands of cases reported right now in the US, but thousands in the sense of like, call it 5 to 6,000. I actually think it's like probably 20, 30,000. I mean, it's
They're saying it's
above
very underreported.
very underreported. And I was telling you, I had a parasite 2 years ago and
Most do.
I I ended up reporting it and getting tested
Good for you.
because 10 years ago, I had salmonella and I had gone
Oh,
through this insane process of figuring it out. And so
whoa.
I knew what it was when I was feeling off. It's a particular feeling for
Yeah.
sure.
Yes.
Um, but I was talking to a friend who is unfortunately experiencing this current one, and several of her family members are. And she hadn't reported it and she was kind of saying, she's just hoping that it kind of clears everyone's system on its own. But I think a lot of people are like that, right? Where there's no sense in going to the doctor especially when it's reported like this, you know what it is.
Sure. And it's not fatal, which is the other good news. But I think you probably can't do much in the way of trying to get checked out or taking anything, I don't know, over the counter that could help. I'm not even sure what that would be because it sounds so severe. When you had salmonella, Jenna, could you trace it to what you ingested?
I mean, hypothetically, you should be able to. Unfortunately, with mine, it took like 2 weeks to figure out what it was. And by that
Mm-hmm.
point, I had kind of
Yeah.
forgotten. So, no. And I think a lot of people who have it now, because the symptoms don't come on for a while, um,
Yeah. It's
so
a
it's
longer
not as easy to
incubation period.
trace.
Yeah, and well, I think to parlay into the fact that only, there is a brand out there that has been connected in the same sentence and that is Taco Bell. And obviously any crisis that happens when a name is associated devoid of facts, because a lot of people just read a headline, right? It's sort of like the case is already written because people don't really dive that next layer. They certainly don't dive deep. But what Taco Bell did was try to be a bit proactive about saying they've voluntarily
Yeah.
pulled some of the produce that sits in their line, the cilantros, the guacamoles, lettuce, that kind of thing, in hot areas of the country too. And again, just to be proactive, they weren't admitting that there's a connection, but sometimes you wonder, is the damage done? I personally think it's a great move. It feels consumer first and it feels transparent by putting out a proactive statement, but I think it can't always be read that way across the consumer base. And
Yeah.
then it's always like, are they hiding something? You know, but it's not
Well,
confirmed that they are involved.
I think the funny thing is, so what I saw in the media was that Taco Bell, there are investigators looking to see, as you said, if there's a connection between some of their ingredients and the illness. I don't know because we're not on the inside. If Taco Bell had said nothing, if the fact that they were being investigated would have been public knowledge anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm not aware of that. Um, I love that they pulled some of their ingredients. I think that is the right way to go, the consumer first. However, and again, we have the privilege of kind of dissecting this from far out, but we just
Yeah.
had a crisis comms
Thankfully.
episode air.
Yes.
And, in terms of the action that they took with pulling the ingredients, 1,000% aligned. Like, yes, 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 protect the consumer. Ultimately, that does good for your brand. However, announcing that you did it is a whole other question of
Yeah.
like, I would imagine they announced what they did thinking, hey, we're being proactive and putting consumers first. I bet you other organizations are going to follow suit. I bet you other entities will do the same thing. And when they pull their ingredients, we'll announce that they're doing this as well to say, hey, we're doing this great thing for our customers. I haven't seen anyone else do that. And given where everything is in the news, I think you're right, is now they run the risk of just people thinking, oh, Taco Bell caused this, or, oh, I'm
Yeah.
never going there again. They're going to give me a stomach issue. And it's the old question of like, should we have been proactive or should we have sat on it in terms of what to say publicly, not what to do? Should we
Yeah.
have sat on it a little longer and then maybe not said anything? Maybe just let people think we were having supply chain issues because of this issue versus
Sure. Leave it a little
proactively pulling.
murky and up for interpretation. And yeah, I mean, this more so than other product recalls and whatnot, has really shifted consumer behavior for the time being. People are not buying produce from the grocery store. They're skipping out on the things that could be contaminated. I just went to a barbecue on Sunday and it was like, bring what you want, but please don't bring a fruit salad
Yeah.
because we want nothing to do with it. So when you think about it, in that sort of landscape where people are avoiding it, these healthy things even, maybe you do it, like you said, Jenna, and don't come out publicly. But that is what every brand needs to battle with is that supreme transparency and to try to give a rationale that the public will respond to. And I think the ideal scenario is yes, earn the trust, come back and see us again when this is all over.
Yeah. It is a delicate dance when you look at this sort of thing and crisis comms and crisis PR. And a lot of times less is more in these
Yeah.
situations, saying
Yeah.
less. And again, I am not talking about doing less. I think that
Right.
you have to make sound business decisions to protect your customers. So doing more and pulling things is the right thing to do, but saying less is sometimes the more effective thing to do. But we'll see. I mean, also, we said this a million times. People have short memories. This is
Oh,
going to come. This
absolutely.
is going to pass.
Yep.
Give it 6 weeks or so, and I can guarantee Taco Bell loyalists, even if they have their feathers ruffled now, are going to be right back over there and just
Yeah.
fine.
Yes. That is one thing you can always rely on with the news cycle and with the human brain. What is
Yep.
the
Yep.
next
Yep.
10-second snippet, right? So there is
Yeah.
recovery for sure.
So while we're talking about fast food and kind of doing what consumers want and all of that, let's talk about KFC for a second.
Cool.
KFC made an announcement recently that they are bringing back popcorn chicken. And they were not shy in their announcement about saying that this is because of consumer demand. This is because people were posting on social media and writing and calling and pushing and pushing and pushing for this popcorn chicken to come back. So the background is KFC pulled popcorn chicken from their menu in 2023. I was curious, of course, and did a little digging, and it looks like popcorn chicken was put on the menu in 1992. So it had a good run.
Wait, so you're saying 92 to 2023, this was a standard?
It was a standard, had a good run. And
Wow.
look, I have not frequented KFC
Yeah.
very,
Yep.
very much in my lifetime,
And I
but I
was there for the
believe
mashed potatoes when I did.
I believe that they even put the popcorn chicken like mixed in sometimes with like a mac and cheese or something. So it
Okay.
was a staple. And in 2022, they came out with like a new chicken nugget. And when they came out with that, they pulled
Yeah.
the popcorn chicken. Again, I'm sure it was all about supply chain, costs, efficiency, all of that. They were still providing a chicken product to consumers. It tested really well, performed really well. So people were liking the new product. It wasn't that.
Sure.
But then when they pulled popcorn chicken, I think
It's
people
like,
are like,
where
wait,
is
wait,
that?
wait. That was my go-to. That was my jam. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, to me, this is the ultimate like customer centricity move.
Yeah.
It's very similar to the Burger King um, campaign that we talked about a few months ago when Burger King had their president available for people to call. And people called in
Yeah.
about the Whopper, but they came out and then like announced an update to the packaging and I think some other things with the Whopper in response to people calling. So it's very similar in the sense of like letting your consumers lead the way in terms of the products that you're offering. And sometimes the supply chain decisions are not necessarily going to be the right decision. Even if you're saving money, you're
Yeah.
going to lose customers to the extent that then you're losing money, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It is that analysis that you really need to put forward and some cute marketing things too that they're doing to promote it. The partnership with Giphy, kind of these live action short anime snippets, of which there are quite a lot. I mean, you can see these things kind of flying off the digital shelves if you would, especially if you're a big fan of popcorn chicken. So the more conversation that consumers rally around, the better off for the brand, right? And I think they know this is a gold mine from a demand perspective. They've heard it in social listening, and now they can capitalize on it from a proactive marketing standpoint. So it's a really nice through line for the brand.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's fun. And like, these are the brands that need to listen to their customers,
Mhm.
especially as we look at nostalgia and retro and all of that and like your customer base. And if mom and dad ate it when they were kids and they loved it and they remember it, there's a higher likelihood that they're bringing their kids back for the same thing. So don't take that staple
Absolutely.
item off the menu.
Yeah. Yeah. You're creating a new generation of fans.
Yeah.
For sure. I
Yeah.
wonder if we need to do a taste test, Jenna, between the popcorn chicken and the new chicken nugget, but maybe we'll deal with that later.
Ooh, that sounds fun. I do have a KFC down the street from me.
I do as well.
Should we do that?
Maybe we should.
I
And
think we
by the
need to do
way,
that.
I mean, can you even remember the last time you graced the doors of a KFC though? I can't.
No, I quite literally cannot.
Yeah.
Long time, probably a road trip of some sort. Definitely. No,
Maybe
no.
even. Yeah. Okay. Let's add it to our weekly to do.
Okay. So taste test. We are recording that. I love it.
We'll let you
Um,
know.
all right. Well, let's pop back to you alluded at the beginning of this call to being worried about Ziggy
Yeah.
and little Ziggs experiencing air quality issues.
Correct. No, that isn't bougie dog ownership. I'm not sure what is, but she is a third child, the youngest
Well,
sister.
the stats say that you are not alone
I'm
on
not.
feeling like little Ziggs is a part of the family or even your child, right?
That's that's absolutely right. And we've seen this knowing the category pretty well through and through, right, over the years, Jenna, for like a decade now, I guess.
I was gonna
Um,
say, let's for clarity, we have worked in the pet care space for a decade now. So we've seen all the trends, we've seen all the stats and the data, and we talked about pets as family for a long time, but it's just that the stats continue to prove that and continue to prove that like it's just really baked in now to people's ethos.
yeah. And I mean that coupled with this up and coming Gen Z generation not wanting to have kids, or at least that's what they think right at this point in their life stage, it becomes even more um even more prominent, right? With this up and coming generation of people that are going to come to family building age. They're already in it.
Yeah.
So I think those two facts coupled together makes it the pet category potentially larger. And you see some brands already certainly capitalizing on it.
Yeah. So a new Harris Bowl just came out. And it was one of the things they were focusing on is the Gen Z and millennials and being what they called a pet first household. So kind of choosing to have pets over children. 40% of the respondents
Wow.
chose pets. 39% chose both pets and children, and only
Hmm.
21% chose children alone. So I just that speaks volumes
Yes.
to
Yeah.
not just those choices, but the kind of mentality of these people of like, well, yeah, I'm going to choose pets and they are essentially my children and I'm going to treat them as my children,
Yeah.
care for them as my children, right? I just had a conversation not with a millennial, was with a woman who was in her early 70s the other day. And she was saying, her children are grown, her grandchildren are now, in like late teens, early 20s. And her
Wow.
children were saying, Mom, you got to get another pet. You got to have
Mhm.
something to really like care for because you're used to
Yeah.
caring for us and your grandchildren. And she said, she did. And I mean, it's essentially filled that void for her. But this younger generation is just looking to do that from the onset, which is just so interesting.
Well, and I do think there's an economic discussion to have prior to that too. I mean, I think one would think the notion is that it might be a cheaper proposition. Ultimately, yes, you're not paying for education and a very steady grocery budget and all that kind of stuff. But there are major costs associated with owning a pet.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I had a conversation with my son just this morning about it, and he was just like, "Mom, just tell me if we've spent more than $1,000 on Ziggy."
You're like,
Short answer is yes.
first 6 months, bud.
But you could adopt a pet, you cover those adoption fees, and right, you're kind of perceiving this as a free dog, which is great. Adoption fees, great. But so much goes into the proactive healthcare, the reactive healthcare, the caregiving when you're out of town, especially for a dog. I'm curious, Jenna, about the boomer you chatted with. Did she end up getting a dog or a cat?
She got two dogs actually.
Oh, wow.
And
Good
one of
for
them is a
her.
senior dog.
Okay.
And she was talking about just the expenses of a senior dog, which
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had one dog that passed recently. I know
Yeah.
you did as well. And now I have another senior dog, and
Mhm.
we just paid thousands of dollars to get her teeth pulled.
Yep.
And it was a
Yeah.
really hard decision to make because it is so expensive.
Yes.
But I will say, now having so many of her teeth pulled, she is like a spry little chicken again. She's
Oh,
hopping
good.
around like,
Okay. Great.
I
Good.
mean,
I'm glad for
so
Riggy.
yes, very, very glad for little Miss Tones. But yeah, I mean, consumers are talking about, pet expenses being a concern for them, and a reason why they may not do both pets and children.
Yeah.
Um, in the survey, I think it was 54% of the younger consumers are worried about the cost of living and that preventing them from giving their pets the life they deserve.
Right. Yeah.
Which again is just, you're almost replacing the word children with pets. I mean, that is
Yeah.
really what you're doing in some of this. And it's fascinating as somebody who's always had pets and now has children. I get it.
Yeah.
But it
Well, and
just,
I love this other stat of 83% of pet owners consider their pets to be like their own children. I fall in that category. I mean, on a day-to-day decision-making basis on behalf of Ziggy, you could leave her in the crate all day, or you could spend some money, where she goes out on this great play date with a bunch of other dogs. She'll survive both scenarios, but that quality of life piece is what pulls you into the latter direction at
yep,
your cost, of course. And,
yep.
if you're just starting out in the world, that's not an easy decision to make against the expense.
Yeah. Well, and I think the other thing is, so the pet category has been booming for a while,
Hmm.
and you've seen different products come out in service of pets. You saw, like, going back to like a bark box, right? You saw things like that start to come out. There's a new product that we stumbled across. Um, there's a debate if it's fee or fi, but it's fi. We're
I
going
vote
with
for.
fi. Fi just introduced a new product called the Fi Ultra, and it is a tracker for pets. It goes on their collar, I believe, and it uses mobile technology so that it can track from like far away. So let's say your dog runs away, or somehow you lose track of your dog, whether you're traveling or at home. Um, the technology is created in such a way that it can find them basically anywhere. Um, and it switches between, I think it was like LTE and
And
satellite, maybe?
this, yeah, satellite technology, which
Yeah.
makes it the first of its kind technology, because I think when you're off LTE, it could still pick up the signal.
So I just think, to me, this just speaks more to the humanization of pets and keeping track of your pets in the way that you would with kids, right? There's a lot of parents that will put like an air tag in their
Yep.
kid's shoe or in a pocket or something like that, especially if you're going to a big space like a Disney World or a water park or,
Yeah. Yep.
a place like that. And this is very, it's in the similar space, right? Where it's like, you want to make sure you can keep track of your pet at all times, no matter what. Um, so to me, this is really about like the humanization of pets and the investment that people are willing to make to keep their pets safe. I mean, this is, let's see, pricing. It's about $200,
Seems like a
plus
monthly
almost a
membership. Yeah.
$200 a year membership. I mean, so it's
Yeah.
not
Oh,
cheap.
annual. Yep. No, it's not.
Yeah.
And I think according to the Verge article, it's the battery life that is a little problematic, because you would need a long shelf battery, right? If you did lose your dog, because chances are you might not find them right away. Can I tell my Ziggy story?
Oh, please tell your Ziggy story. Wait, did
You
you?
know my Ziggy story.
Oh, the Ziggy story. I know this story, right?
Yes.
I know
And
this story. Please tell this story.
one
It
and five would
just
have been
proves to
great.
how awesome this dog is.
She
Please.
knows her way around Chicago, but what I will say, she's microchipped too. So I would like to understand the total delta between the microchip is where you have to bring the dog to a vet that can read the chip, right? So like a consumer interaction has to happen, whereby you're tracking them on your phone or whatnot, right? It's an easier interface. But yes, one day Ziggy ran away from playgroup trying to chase a rabbit. And then she found herself unable to get back to the playgroup. She was in a park about a mile and a half north of us. And so what she ended up doing was running home to our house, and the dog playgroup folks, eventually I connected with them. I said, any chance Ziggy's in the neighborhood? My neighbor just said they saw her running free down the block. And they were like, yes, Emily, it's possible. Lo and behold, it was her, just wreaking havoc in the neighborhood, running around free as a bird dog. And what ended up happening, because I jumped in my car to try to find her, and I ended up leaving my front door open. And when I got home after 20 minutes on patrol, I'm like, what am I going to tell my kids? She was inside my house. She had
Just
found
chilling.
her way home from her doggy GPS. And it was very reassuring. It's weird how now I don't even worry about it. I'm like, she's street smart. She grew up on the streets. She tracks. So get thee a dog like that, or get thee some fi.
I mean, Ziggy is like a one of a kind dog. I don't think that is insanely common for her to be able to check through. Brandon, you live in Chicago.
I know.
You don't live in the suburbs. You live
Yeah.
in Chicago.
Yes.
So she was running up and down city streets finding her way.
Like at least 2 major arteries in North Chicago.
And I mean, it was pretty fast. Like she ran right home when she realized she was lost. So,
and she still had the energy. Yeah, I know. It was insane. And Jenna, credit to you for having me pull the adoption trigger on this one of a kind crazy.
Oh gosh, no, you would have done it anyway. You would have done it anyway.
But no, Jenna, I don't know.
Yeah, she is a one of a kind little pup. And yeah, I mean, I do think though, like having a piece of technology like this on them would have meant that you could have seen, oh, she's home, or oh, she's on this street.
Right.
The microchipping is wonderful, and I'm a big proponent of that. But somebody's got to not only find the dog, but be able to get the dog to come with them in their car.
There's
in
a lot.
order to, So like it is there are multiple steps there.
Yes.
So anyway, we're big fans of dogs. I love to see these fun new pieces of technology. I love to see that people are still passionate about their pets, as passionate as ever about their pets.
And plenty of innovations to come, I'm sure, right? In nutrition and technology for these guys. So, hopefully as this trend continues with humanity about kind of preferring a pet who doesn't talk back to you, right? Hopefully the cost analysis works out for the people who want to take that path.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think it's time to jump into our last question, which is, what's our impact for the week?
What is our impact? Yeah.
What is our impact?
Question, Jenna.
We have some fun things going on right now. Some fun campaigns that we're working on that will launch in the fall timeframe. I am actually going to speak to, on the professional side, we just wrapped up an H1 impact report for one of our clients.
Fantastic.
And it was a reminder of the great work that we have done over the last 6 months, because I think sometimes when you're in the trenches, and you're churning and burning, you kind of lose sight of the impact that you're actually having. And the report surfaced the volume of eyeballs that we were able to get on the content that we had been working on for this client for the last 6 months. And it was really nice to see how much we had actually done, especially when we looked at this versus last year at the same time. We were just leaps and bounds above what we had done, which showed not only that we could do great work, but we were continuing to optimize for the client. And I would say as an agency, we talk a lot about impact, and we talk a lot about having that impact come from insights and data and research, and to be able to go back and track ourselves and assess it halfway through the year and say, oh yeah, okay, we are on track. We're doing a good job. Here are the places where we could do a little bit more. And here's where we're great. Let's keep it status quo. I think is nice. It's a nice gut check. And And when we see places where we need to do more, it allows us to make that step change before it's too late in the year. So I was
Yeah.
pretty proud of that.
I mean, the data doesn't lie. And, it's got to be the backbone of any strategy, insights and data backed at the end of all things. So congrats to the team on that. It's a really nice one for this week, Jenna.
I love it. All right. Well, I would say the other fun one to just mention, and we can talk about this a little bit more probably in the coming month or two, is we are scripting out a piece of content. And I am so excited to have go into production. It goes into
Yeah.
production in a few weeks. We've been working very hard on the script and getting the tone right and the personas and all that. So that's a really fun one that will be awesome to see coming to life. And we will chat more about it when we can at the end of the summer or in early fall.
Perfect. Can't wait.
All right. Well, thank you, Em, for taking the time to chat today, and have
You
a
too, Jenna.
lovely rest of the day. Hopefully you can make it outside, maybe.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm going to try a little bit.
Oh. All right. We'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.